Again, yeah, it is. Pennsylvania. Here, you see that little pin? You can drive that. Oh, and by the way, you don't want to dry fire these things. Just a little bit to the side of the shooter. 1, 2, 3. All in 25, 25 and a half, 26 grains. Look at that. There is 20 feet of snow up there. Unbelievable. Look at how beautiful. Backcountry people. Those of you not familiar with the Sierras. Astounding. Just beautiful. You're looking at mountains about 50 miles away. Maybe not even that. It's beautiful. Look at the peaks. We won't be getting to the backcountry this year unless we want to snowshoe it or snow ski it in there. Take our cross-country skis. Wow, look at that. Gorgeous. Hey folks, Manny CA here. This time I thought we'd take our Axis, Savage Axis 243 out for a drive. Haven't played with this one in a while. As far as economy guns go, and I do classify this as an economy gun, you're well under $500 for this gun. $500 or $600 in my book. Under that, your economy. Under $1,000, maybe under $1,500, you're looking at kind of regular, standard grade rifle. Anything over $2,000, I consider to be high quality, very long lasting, passed down to your family members. Now, that's my opinion. You guys might have other opinions, but this is the opinion I formed based on my years of shooting. These guns are, let's make no bones about it, very basic. And when I say very basic, we're talking very, very basic. They're designed with costs in mind to get people who don't really have a lot of funds, or weekend hunters, weekend shooters, weekend meat gatherers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's designed to get those guys what they want to get, namely game. And this gun will do that. You know which other guns, in my mind, were specifically designed as quote-unquote economy guns about 20, 30 years ago, were the Remington Model 700. Remember that? And the Savage 110 and the Savage 111. I like all those guns. We've shot them all. They're great. They're a step above these type of guns. When I say these type of guns, we're talking about a bunch of different guns all in one category. Because you've got your economy, you got your mid-grade, you got your high-end. With the economy guns, we've got like the Browning AB3, right? The Mossberg ATR, which stands for All-Terrain Rifle. I know, very gay. All-Terrain Rifle. The Remington 783, which is, it's all right. The Ruger American, which I've got a soft spot for the Ruger American. And the Weatherby Vanguard. Those are what I consider my value-priced guns. All right, value-priced. They're cheap. Along the lines of the Remington, I got a Remington 710. You want to talk about cheap guns? Now that gun, the barrel is pressed at the factory on the receiver. It's basically a throwaway gun. And in a 300 Win Mag, you probably got maybe 1,000 shots down that bore before the gun would be junk. I know, don't hate me for the truth. That's just the experience I've had. Those guns, you can't replace the barrel. So you're going to take them, shoot them, and then pitch them after they're done. So they're not something you're going to hand down to your family. Plus, there's always a market for really cheap hunting rifles, inexpensive hunting rifles. The stocks, this gun is all synthetic stock. All synthetic stock. The bolt actions, they're really basic actions. The externals, the internal finishings of these guns are crude, to say the least, but they're there to cut costs. All right. Their big anti-glare or matte finish, as they call it, mainly just is there, again, to cut costs. And you can see on this one, you can see that it's a matte type finish. Anti-glare, what they call it. It's just a cost-cutting option. All right. Basically, the gun companies, they promote these guns on as they're accurate and not high quality, and that's basically the truth. They're very accurate for what they're meant to do. Another thing that they do with these barrels is, now there's a big discussion in the rifle shooting community. You got two schools of thoughts. A lot of people think that free floating is just a way to make a cheap gun, and this barrel is fully free floating. All right, and they say because it's a lot cheaper than having to barrel the action into the stock. All right, I think that's a little bit of a misnomer, but I've had experience with both. I've had cheap guns like this that were free floating, shoot very, very well. And then I've also had guns that were fully bedded, like the CZs, that shot not as good as I thought they should have shot, regardless of them being free floating. All right, mostly heavyweight varmint and bench rest rifle barrels are typically more accurate. Typically more accurate when they're free floating. Sporter barrels, such as this one, and a lot of heavy contour barrels, shoot more accurately when bedded in a rigid stock. And this is not a rigid stock. There is no spine on the bottom of this stock made of aluminum, such as you would get with like a Hogue or a Boyd stock or one of those like $200-300 stocks. Yeah, the 710, like I said, very bad. Very bad. It's just, you can't get cheaper than that. The whole rifle is basically just a replaceable rifle. It's like buying a little Timex watch. After a while, it serves its purpose, then you pitch it. I know it sounds bad, but what do you want? Most of these economy receivers are generally drilled. They have bar stock that they use from. They're made from bar stock, you know, rather than like a machined steel billet. And the recoil lugs are usually big washers, you know, that are sandwiched between the receiver and the barrel, rather than an integral machined part of the bottom of the receiver. The ejection ports, now this ejection port isn't that bad, but usually the ejection ports, they're just oval slots cut into the receiver, such as this one. But this is a little more generous, and they're hard to remove a stuck cartridge or make a single cartridge loading a little more difficult in the field. I guess that's what it's the cheapest way possible. This one, at least, the edges are beveled on the ejection port. You can see that. And usually on good rifles, you've got the trigger guard right there, and it's usually made of metal, one piece, beautiful metal. This is plastic. This is just cheesy plastic. And of course, you've got the cheap, see if I can get this out here without trashing everything, without knocking the gun down. You got the cheap box mags, which are usually plastic, stamped metal plastics. Yeah, not the greatest, not the best, but you know what? They serve the purpose, which is what we've been talking about, economy rifles. Bolt bodies, let's get to the bolt body on this guy. So the bolt bodies usually are supposed to be made up of one solid piece. Hold on, let me take bolt body out. This one isn't. They're usually, this is a 3-part bolt body, usually with a floating head on there. So, and you can see the rough casting. You see the seams right there on the bolt head. Sorry, the bolt knob. It's just a casted piece of pot iron, I guess. Usually bolt bodies in these economy rifles are made up of multiple parts, just like this is right here. You got a separate bolt head, bolt body, bolt handle and knob. Okay, and this one, like we said, is just cast. The back parts are cast. So another thing that I'm really not too fond of this rifle is it only holds 4 rounds. Yeah, not really great. And it's a detachable mag, which usually, and this is just my experience with shooting. They're more prone to jam, you know, you damage them, or to lose during the excitement or the stress of a hunt, especially if you're a newbie, new hunters, man. You know, you got to carry a couple extra rounds of those, couple extra mags in your pocket just in case. Some of them you need to, when you eject, they'll load from the chamber, and there's no way to remove them besides cycling them one by one. And that's another issue that I'm not too fond of. I don't like that. You know, the gun is what it is, you know. Not to mention that the firing trigger and the all the parts in there, they're all stamped sheet metal. You know, they're not machined. The engagement surfaces, you know, the sear and the trigger, they're usually not polished. You know, and plastic is everywhere just to cut costs. I think Savage did do the world of the economy rifle a favor by introducing the AccuTrigger. I like the AccuTrigger. This gun does not have the AccuTrigger. This is an older model Savage Access. But I know you can get a aftermarket. Timney makes, I believe it's Timney makes an aftermarket trigger for this gun, which will work, you know, very, very well. And it's not creepy, and it's just heavy. You know, I think it may be, I want to say 7 or 6.5, 7, 8 pound trigger, something like that. We're talking about. So, but again, it just depends on how much you want to spend on your rifle. you want to spend a lot, you're going to get a good gun. But for the economy type rifles, this is what you're going to get. All right. None of the economy rifles that I've ever used or seen have any of those controlled feed actions. What they are, they're all push feed design with the bolt face and the plunger ejector. Here, we'll show you. Plunger ejector, right? And that holds the bolt, holds the bolt holds the cartridge with the claw on the bottom. You see the bottom there. All right. Some of the better ones, they use the claw extractors. This is a claw extractor right here. Kinda. I'm gonna say it's like a bastardization of a claw extractor, but it's just, you know, the cheap extractors are prone to failure, leaving the case in the chamber when you least expect it, or you really can't afford it. We've talked about the stock already. The stock is not, it just flexes. If we had a high-speed camera and we would, you know, film it, you would watch you'd see the stock flex, which again, not good for accuracy. And they don't even have the checkering. Look at this. There's no checkering. We just got these little grips on the bottom here that they molded in. They remind me of like when you go to you go to buy a bath mat, you know, you put in the tub. That's what it looks like, a tub mat, doesn't it? In the front over here too. Check that out. It's supposed to be grippy. They are grippy though. I mean, you're not going to lose your stock, especially when you're not going to lose your grip, especially when it's wet. You know, and of course these are hollow. Most of them are hollow stocks. And some are foam filled, and some have the ridges to reduce the hollow sound. But the ridges really don't do anything in trying to keep the gun from not flexing when you shoot. Basically, that's how it comes down to. The stock, you know, a lot of people say that they're ugly. This one isn't that bad. It's okay. Come on, people. It's an economy gun. What do you expect? You know. And like we said, there's I kind of like this. The hollow comb on the back, on the butt plate. I like that. It's pretty squishy. Squishy, is that a term? Yeah, look, it's very nice. Absorbs recoil very well. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. You know, I mean, it's a gun, right? And you could spend $2,000-$3,000 for a Cooper rifle, sure. And yeah, you could do that. But then again, will it get game any better than that Cooper rifle? No. Will the rifle last in your family a little bit longer? Probably. You know, they always try to just stress the accuracy of the guns. And like we said before, these are accurate. They're very accurate. But they're not going to last. You know, you're not going to get, you know, a couple thousand rounds out of most of them. Like we said, the 710, Remington 710, talk about garbage. This one at least has the Savage, that knob right there on the barrel, this thing, where you can unscrew and put a new barrel on. So you got something there to look forward to. They're not bad, but they are what they are. And we're out here today shooting them. We got a bevy of ammo to try out. This one, this gun, 22-inch barrel. Savage Access. This is the first one, 243 caliber. Came with this Bushnell 40mm 3x9. Just a scope to get the job done. Let's take this off. Little 3x9 Bushnell, not bad. If you look at the knobs, they're kind of, well, of course, they're cheapies, plasticies. You know, you're not looking at a high quality $1,000 Burris or Night Force, you know, $2,500 Night Force scope. But hey, this gun, the 243, has the potential to go 1,000 yards. Now, will it do 1,000 yards? Will this rifle do 1,000 yards? Probably not. I wouldn't think that. It is a sporter gun, just made to hunt. But the competitor, I like the Ruger American. I think the Ruger American is not bad, and we'll do a review on that one. We'll get it out shooting. We'll put it head to head. But this gun, man, let's see, carbon steel barrel, drill and tap. That comes drill and tap. This one came with the scope on it, so it was a package deal. The factory says it's 6.5 pounds on that trigger. 6.5, or I'm sorry, the factory says the actual weight is 6.5 of the rifle. The factory puts this rifle at 6.5 pounds. The factory says this rifle is 6.5 pounds. I got 7.2 with the scope. One thing about Ruger, this has got the with the Savage, this is a 1 9 1/4 twist barrel. And they recommend a 95 grain round. We're going to be shooting 100 grains. We've got 100, a lot of the heavier rounds. And then I also got a box of 58 grain Varmint X, just to see what they do and how they perform. But they usually manufacturer design these guns with the specific twist in mind. I know that the Remingtons have the 1 in 10, I want to say. I think it's 1 in 10 twist. You can shoot a little bit heavier bullet. And I believe the Savages, I think they're 1 in, I want to say 1 in 10 or 1 in 11. But they'll shoot, they'll shoot a little bit lighter bullet. This one was designed to shoot a little bit heavier bullet. Remember, the faster the twist, the greater the stabilization, the gyroscopic effect of the bullet exiting the bore, the more stabilization. So you'll shoot with a faster twist, you'll shoot a heavier bullet, more stable. You'll stabilize it. Longer twist, lighter bullet. So if you got a 1 in 12 twist on a 243, you're probably looking at the, I'd say 58, 55, 58 grain, 60 grain bullet. But I don't shoot those. I shoot 100 grainers out of here. And this particular one's from 2014. And what I really like about Savage is they have a free floating bolt here. Head. Alright? So the bolt head is free floating. And what that does is it helps the locking lugs made up perfectly on the inside of the receiver. So that nothing... So you get full engagement. Full engagement equals better quality. Perfect lockup. It's about 43 inches long. Total length. And it is what it is. We'll get some shooting going, put some on paper. We're going to sight it in, and then we're going to go for long. Now remember, when you're shooting these things, you get your gun, especially if you're shooting off of a bipod and sandbags in the rear like we've got here. You want to make sure that the gun, when you muscle it into position, and then let go of it, it should stay on point of aim. You shouldn't have to keep muscling it as you hold it, because that's not good. So now the gun is point of aim right here. That means the gun is pointed to where I want it to point. And we look good. Alright, so you can see our first shot, second, third, fourth, and then these were the ones that we were messing with the verticals. So we are basically where we want to be. We'll take, this is at 50 yards. We're going to take it back to 150 and see what she can do. And I think at 150, we got a little bit of a breeze here. You can see our makeshift flags. And you could lose a small child in this grass. You gotta remember, keep your breathing under control too. I can't see from here, but let's do one at the target, at the plate, and see what we get. Then we'll walk on down there and take a look. It's only 150 yards. Let's get the yellow plate. Let's see if we could ding it. Yellow plate. All right, so it's yellow plate accurate, which would be the vitals of an animal. Let's try one more. And remember what I was mentioning about how small that ejection port is? This one I could actually get my thumb in, compared to like the 710 Remington, where I couldn't even get my thumb in to load around. All right, so we're yellow plate accurate at 150. Let's try the black plate. See if we get you guys a little closer to the action. All right, there we go. So not bad. A stock factory gun with a little cheapy Bushnell 3x9 and low quality. The glass is clear though. Alright, we're back at the plate here. I spared you the 150 yard walk. I'll spare you the 250 yard walk too. Look at that. Not bad. 1, 2, 3. They'll be all kill shots. But what really got me was, look at that. At 150 yards. Very nice group. 3-shot group. I know it's only 3 shots, but not bad. That's a 1,000-yard gun, by the way. So they say, or the round, not the gun. And I don't think the gun's, this gun's 1,000 yards, but we'll test it out. We always do testing out here at the channel. You guys are just gonna have to stick around. Now, how about on steel? Okay. So, not too bad, not too shabby. Those will be kill shots. Don't worry, buddy, you're next. We're going to be aiming for that circle. Alright guys, we're at 200 here, and we'll see what happens. We're going to do a 3-shot group with the wind, 100 grain soft point, with the Federal soft points at the bottom circle. And we're going to try for some steel. And we'll take a walk and see how they did. The barrel is a little bit warm. We'll take another shot. You gotta take it slow. We don't want the barrel heating up too much. Even though they say that because it's free floating, it shouldn't throw our shots like through the vertical stringing is bad. We'll see. I think the back end of my table's a little low because of the ground slope of the earth. There we go. Now let's see what we could get on here. I don't think we're going to see anything. It's a little far. Yeah. Hard to tell. I'm going to have to go and take a walk. Meanwhile, let's see how the two steel hold up at 200 here. Not bad. Not bad. They're dropping faster than 100 grainers. See this? The uncontrolled extraction. They're hitting, but I gotta hold at 12 o'clock. Another quick tip, if you guys want to decock your gun without dropping your hammer, without pulling the trigger. I got no problems doing that myself. But come here, instead of when you drop it, hold the trigger down, and I'll decock it. See? Without having to dry fire. If you guys are one of those dry fire types. Back at the bench where we get some readings. Data is the best part of this, I think, when you go out and you do your own research. So, the gun as it comes from the factory, 7.4 pounds. That's with the scope. Trigger pull, we'll go through. We'll show you guys what the stock trigger pull is. Their access line just seems to be for the youth hunter. That's what it seems like. We got we got a 20-inch barrel. And again, easy way to measure is to take a wooden dowel on a closed bolt, put it down the bore, and just measure when you pull the dowel out, because it's from the base of the bolt to the end of the barrel. That's how they do measurements for barrels, barrel lengths. So, total rifle length, 39.5, call it 39.5 inches. Stock has got these, see these inlettings right in here, which they're supposed to, I'm guessing it's like a grip here. You see that? The stock, like I said, it's a great beginner's gun. It's a great beginner's gun. Not that heavy. And the gun, I mean, the 243, come on, right? Great caliber. Let's see at the widest point what we got. A little bit of a swell on this part, so we'll call this right over here, the middle. And you're looking at 1.9. So you're looking at 1.9 inches wide at its widest, which seems to be right here, right in front of the trigger guard. Let's get some pulls here on the factory trigger. We got our trusty Lyman. I used a bunch of other different ones, and unless you're going to spend $300 or $400 for like the NRA one that has the weights on it, I think this is probably your best bet. We'll do a couple of them just to check. There you go. 6.7. Whoop. 6.4. 6.4. So we're getting a consistent pull. It's not a light pull, 6 pounds for a gun, but maybe that's not a bad thing when you have a new shooter. 6.4 again. So not the lightest trigger pull, and as like we said, the gun is just a little bit, you got a little take up right there. I'd say an 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch of take up before the gun breaks. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not gritty, but it definitely could be worked on. But for a new shooter, this is the gun you want to practice with. Not a bad little rifle. I like the butt pad that they put on this thing. Check that out. Very nice. So, really, really nice. Swivel slings, swivel stocks already in there in the stock. So you're ready to go. Truly a hunting, very nice hunting gun. And again, with a gun like this, you're going to find parts online to do what you want. So Savage likes to make their barrels with these takedowns where you can remove this and put a new barrel on. And there's a ton of places online that'll do an aftermarket barrel. Aftermarket barrel, you can get upgraded scope, upgraded rings, upgraded mounts. You can get a new trigger. You can get a new stock. This stock right here is not a reinforced stock. And takedown on these guys are pretty much the Savage norm. Got a back screw, but interestingly enough, you know, remove the magazine. The trigger guard comes out. See? And it's all one molded piece. So that's what keeps the weight down also, is you've got these guys, and I think this is in direct competition to the Ruger American, another excellent series of guns for the beginner shooter or for the novice shooter. You've got another nut right here. And get you the inside view. So you can see right through there what the stock looks like. There's no reinforcement whatsoever. So you may want to change out the stock. You've got a piece of aluminum right here that's bedded down with the action over here, but that is about it. And of course the barrel is free floating on these guns. So that is one thing that's really, really nice. There's the inside action. Stay with us as we go through here and we try to make this gun a little bit more, shall we say, refined without trying to destroy our bank balance in the process. Now when you get the reassembly ready to get done, what you want to do is, remember that lug right here? Yeah, well that lug mates up with the barrel right here. See that? So when you put this together, that has to go in that. And since this is a free floating barrel, the easiest way to do it is to hold on right here. You can see, here, let me show you. See? Free floating barrel, so when you let go of the back here of the receiver, it could dip down. That's not what you want. To install this, you've got to make sure you got a firm grip here, and there's no shifting in the stock. You want to make sure that the cover guard's on here, trigger guard, and it goes in from the back you see there's a little recess right in, or there's a little lug right here. That lug mates up into the bottom right in there. See that? So take it, you're going to rock it in just like this. Okay? Now, you still got a good grip on this, right? You want to make sure this thing's not going to rock on you. Put the front screw in, put your rear action screw in, and start nice and slow. And you don't want to over tighten, just a little bit. Now you put the back one in, still making sure you got a firm grip. And they say you need to tighten these to 40 inch-pounds. So you guys seen how we've done that, and that will affect your accuracy. So I'm going to bust out the wrench here and I'm sorry, the screwdriver, and tighten these up. But that will affect your accuracy. If you've watched our video before shooting the 22, you've seen how we do that and what I'm talking about. So it's another thing you can do with this gun is to lighten and tighten these two to get the accuracy you want. Do your function test. More good. Something else you want to consider when you're checking out these guns is when you put it together to make sure that you've got that groove in the lug in the barrel over here. Is these barrels are free floating, which means there's no obstructions. There's nothing touching the barrel from here to the end on the stock. And you can see how it flexes, and that's what you want to see. There. That flex is good. That means that there is actually room in here, and this thing is not touching anywhere. But again, like we talked about before, the stock has no support inside. A lot of the accurate stocks that you'll see, a lot of a little bit heavier aftermarket like Boyd's, Bell & Carson, a lot of those stocks have what they call a aluminum spine in here that runs the whole length of the stock, and that's where the bolts go through, and that keeps this stock from flexing when it shoots. Now it flexes like you wouldn't believe, these stocks like this. So if you ever get a chance, highly recommended, replace the stock if you want to. But like I said, this is an entry-level gun. Another quick test you could do to check is to grab a dollar bill and just kind of take it right through the barrel, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It should go through, slip right inside with no problem. That's how you know that this stock is not touching the barrel anywhere. You want to make sure that there's nothing touching it. That's why when you shoot and you're shooting, you never want to rest the barrel of the gun like say on a tree limb or touching anything like that. Always use the stock. That's what it was made for, is to take it just like so. So just another couple of things that you could think about when you guys are shopping around looking for a gun and making sure there's nothing weird about the gun. You want to make sure all these things come into play. Winchester is shooting very nice. That was interesting. This round didn't want to close on the bolt. Didn't want to close on this round. I'm gonna have to look into that. There goes that push feed again. See that? The uncontrolled feed doesn't help in the field. The bolt on this thing is drilled from bar stock, or I'm sorry, the receiver is drilled from bar stock. And the bolt has two really big opposed Mauser pattern front locking lugs. Require 90-degree bolt rotation. Let's get around here so you can take a look. See, there's one over there, one on the other side. And when you close in 90 degrees to lock them, and they lock into the receiver up on top. The locking lugs, body handle, the body, the handle, they're all assembled. They're not machined. Typical Savage barrel nut system. Secures a free-floating barrel to the receiver, right? And the recoil lug is a heavy steel washer trapped between the barrel and the receiver. So, to remove the bolt, you got to press this and the trigger back at the same time. Pull that out. Kind of clunky. But Savage has a 2-pattern safety device two pattern safety device on this thing. Number one is they'll show you when the gun is cocked. It's not a loaded chamber indicator, but just an indication that the gun is cocked. See? Uncocked. So that's something to think about. How it protrudes out the back of the bolt. Second thing, you've got the regular safety up here, which it won't engage when the gun is, when the hammer is down, it won't engage. Right? Cock the gun, safety engages. What kind of improvement is that? I don't know, but I like the way the safety is up here. Real ergonomics, easy to get to, easy to work, easy to manipulate. Gun is cocked, safety works. Red for fire. Oh, you guys know the drill. There you go. So just another feature on these economized guns. You know, when you're working with stuff that's low budget, a little bit cheaper, you can't really argue with what happens. But there is a common denominator to all these, and that's the price point. You cannot beat the price, and this will get people out into the field who probably don't want to spend $2 or $3 grand on a gun. Now, I really wish this one, I would have waited and gotten this one with the AccuTrigger. But like I said, there's aftermarket parts for this gun. You got aftermarket barrels that'll come, this thing will disassemble, put a new barrel on, get a new stock, get a new scope, get new rings, get a new trigger, and you got yourself a whole new gun. You probably spend, you know, what you're going to spend for a souped up 700, but the gun is yours. You can customize it, and that's the whole thing, customization. I really like the way that you can do that. And you look online, they've got all kinds of places that sell parts for these guns. You know. Well, the only thing besides the magazine is the only thing that I really don't like. I don't like that piece of spring steel right there. You see that? And the color, I really don't care about the color. They call it Muddy Girl. Muddy Girl. Well, got a lot of mud out here today. Muddy Girl camouflage, great marketing technique, aimed for the women. Oh, look at little girls. You know, besides the 243 we got here, it comes in 223, I think 22 250, I think 270, 308, 30-06. And it's pretty affordable, man. Cannot beat it. But you're never going to know what these rifles can do unless you go out and shoot them. So, get out there, guys. Seems to prefer the heavyweight bullet, just like the manufacturer suggested. Imagine that. 100 grainers. Very good. Shoot very, very well. Again, get out there and do some shooting, guys. Join the NRA, Gun Owners of America. Second Amendment Foundation. They're fighting for our rights, so we'll be out here doing this. Till next time.